trying to figure out if the T was silent or we needed to add it. So had a lot of discussions with Bo whether we should put the T or not. So much. So many good possibilities. Thank you. Cayman Rucker is the one that came up with it. Cayman Rucker coined the phrase Bo Satkinson right after the game. Yep.
We can work with all of this.
Yep. So many options.
So 17 sacks in the last 2 games.
It's pretty good.
Pretty good. One easy explanation is the difference that Cayman makes out there. What is another explanation?
I just think so. I think it's been there all along. We've got really good players up front. We keep them fresh. We roll them through the game, and it's just wave after wave of really good players executing at a high level. I think Coach Monachino, Jimmy Lindsay, Cam Spence have done a tremendous job with that group of players. They're tremendously talented. They're highly competitive. They're very, very close. And when you have that, and a lot of guys are getting meaningful snaps and making an impact, it's just contagious. How they've just elevated each other's play, and just it's a relentless wave of really good player after really good player, regardless of the combination that Coach Monachino has in there. So I've been really, really happy with the way they have played the game. The production is great, but the way they have approached the game, the way they've approached practice, the way they've approached game time and being leaders has been awesome. Cayman Rucker is an amazing player. He's an amazing leader. Glad that he's back in the lineup full-time and full speed. But I just think it's a collective mentality of that group that is just elevated week after week. And I'm just glad the production is reflective of how they've approached it.
You guys had 2 picks in each of the last 2 games.
Yep.
You should have had some more.
Sure.
There's a direct correlation there, right?
Absolutely. And the Coach Brown talks about it all the time. The number one component is to stop the run. The guys have bought into that. They focused on that. And when you're stopping the run, you're putting them in third and long situations where you can rush the passer, and you know it's a 90-10% pass-to-run ratio, and you can just cut it loose and pin your ears back. And they've done a good job understanding that stopping the run, doing a good job getting them in third and long situations, forcing them into passing situations helps your ability to rush the quarterback. And the other thing that we've stressed throughout the season, that a bull rush is a good rush, and the last 2 weeks you've seen that over and over and over, is they're just utilizing the bull rush, the speed to power, and it's paying off for them.
Fresher, I think, obviously helps with that, right?
What's that?
Being fresher helps with the
Absolutely.
game.
And I think some of the guys that played the first snap, just by the way the game flowed, might have even played less than the guys that were coming in second series. And they're just very unselfish. They like playing the game together, and they just kind of feed off of each other's success and just add on to it.
I was going to say when Matt was in here earlier, talked about stopping the run.
Sure.
Really good job these last few games.
Yep.
He kind of got back into the season about, hey, I guess he went to you as much as anybody. We got to stop the run.
Absolutely.
He banged the podium today. He was thinking about, I got to stop the run.
Yeah.
You probably heard that a few times.
I love it, and I completely agree with it. And there's certain things that just honing in on what they do, what we need to do to stop the run, and making sure that is a focus, and it's got to be a collective from everybody on the back end, especially too, because the more you load the box, the more stress you put on the back end, and just everybody's got to be good with that and moving the stress around, creating pressure, loading the box, all those kind of things to stop the run.
Being better than his wife.
Absolutely, and I think that's a credit to the guys and the way they practice. Our show team does a tremendous job, and 'cause we go out there and we bang, and we hit respectfully, but it is a physical practice, and the show team does a tremendous job understanding that they play a huge role in us having physical practices, and that turning into performances on Saturdays is really good.
Go ahead. Okay. Mac described Wake Forest's offense as unique
Sure.
around college football. What about them is unique, and what sort of challenges do they present?
Well, I think the biggest thing is that the slow mesh play that they they run very, very well. Is very unique to college football, and they just run it over and over and over. And there's different window dressings. There's different things that they do off of it, but just the slow mesh play where the offensive linemen are just having a stalemate at the line of scrimmage. The quarterback's reading it, looking for his RPO or his downfield shot. And then if he sees it that he can give it, he gives it. If not, he's throwing the RPO off of it. So we got to have great eye discipline, great physicality up front, and just understanding what we're getting based on the coverages or the pressures and how that affects the RPO game as well. So it's very unique, and they run it very well.
Did you ever coach against them when you were at
I
Georgia?
have not. Nope. So this is my first time, and seeing it, and Coach Mack actually demonstrated, not in the show team, but some of the drills that we did to replicate it. He played the running back part of it, him and Parks Cochran. Parks was the quarterback, and that was cool to see him out there on the grass giving the look. So, but it's very unique. It's very, very good.
Fast twitch.
What's that?
Fast twitch.
Didn't have to be on the slow mesh. So very patient runner, Coach was. Eyes downfield, reading the coverage. So him and Parks did a tremendous job. Yep.
Geoff, what I was going to ask you was, I hear you when you say the group elevating during practice in terms of like the front four,
Sure.
the guys that are getting after the quarterback. Just watching it the way we do the last couple weeks, it just seems like confidence and chemistry are two things that are just really starting to work for you guys. Like when you bring Bo in, the way he's able to play off the other guys, are those some of the factors in addition to the X's and O's? Like, what sort of elements are you seeing?
Well, I think
as you watch them?
and you guys have heard me say this for 10 months, is just playing fast, playing free, playing confident, playing together, all of those things that we stress. And it's nice to see it happen on a game day because it happens regularly out at practice. But to see it actually happen on college football Saturdays to that level is confidence inspiring, and the guys just are feeding off of each other that way. And the cool thing, too, is Bo and Dez play the same position, so when one of them's in there, the other one's not, and they pull for each other, they push each other in practice, and then when we get into third downs, a lot of times they're on the field together and they play next to each other. They're doing cool games and stunts and all kinds of things I won't bore y'all with. But that relationship is very, very good. And I would say that Travis Shaw, Javari Ritzie, Scoob, and Josh Harris, Kamen and Jacoby Cowan, just the bonds and the unselfishness, the conversations that we have on the sidelines, when they're not in, they're still getting the same information. So when it's their turn, we don't miss a beat. And I just think it's a cool thing that we just got to continue to build on.
Through 9 games and 2 bye weeks, I mean, you're leading the season now. Do you feel like you have a better sense of what buttons to push in certain situations?
Yep.
100%.
Yeah, 100%. And that's, learning the guys, what their strengths are, what things that, we need to move some things around to help certain guys. We're well versed in all of those things right now, from the front end to the back end, the second level. It's pretty good the way we've evolved what we do schematically to fit the guys that we have, and they're really good players. So.
To go up that a little bit, I was just going to ask you some of that first bye week you were talking about,
getting back to day one install
Yep.
and things like that. With this second one, was there any, or I guess to what extent did you have tweaks, have alterations and things like that, or was it more so just keep doing what you're doing? And
So a little bit of both. Each week presents new challenges schematically. Obviously, Wake's Forest offense, formationally, and what they do schematically with the slow mesh and some other cool things they do. You've got to adjust, but we don't ever want to deviate and put brand new things, especially things that are playing well. But there are tweaks that you have to do each and every week, or certain things you focus in more on than you would maybe a different week. So we've just got to, play those games while keeping it very simple so they can just cut it loose and play fast. So.
Attribute the missed tackles are a problem in that losing streak. Last 2 weeks,
Sure.
virtually eliminated. What do you attribute that to?
We practice it, every single week, and the focus versus the show team every single week. Maybe it is the confidence, the playing free, trusting that as long as, because there are certain things that, even go back to the Virginia game, there's certain pressures that you have a certain responsibility. There's a 3-layered responsibility that has to be executed perfectly by all 3 guys and unselfishly, that maybe in that stretch that we were on, a guy would not do his part of the 3rd execution of the pressure or whatever it was. Well, you saw in the Virginia game and even versus Florida State, all 3 of those phases got attacked 3 different times in 3 different ways. And all 3, and I showed this 2 Tuesdays ago. Anyway, that each one, they did it, they're the one that made the play. The next time they do it, they took their job. The next one, he was the part that made the play, but they all 3 have to execute it for one of them, the 3, to make the play. And they're all just, okay, I trust the guys that are the next level of it to execute. I'll execute mine. Sometimes I'll make the play. The next time I'll do my job. They'll pull it. He'll make the play. And that's been really cool to see, and the confidence is built off of that as well.
When you look at Amari Campbell, he came into this season with not a whole lot of experience because Cedric Gray was eating up all the snaps.
Sure.
But he's pretty quickly become a leader on the defense and a pretty darn good player, too. I mean, that's not normal, is it?
Right. I mean, I've been very pleased with Amari, and just I think the leadership and the growth that he's experienced, and even during that stretch where we were up and down playing great and not playing as well, his leadership just elevated and increased. I won't tell the full story of it. That's for another time. But there was a point early in the Virginia game, and we made Amari a captain that game, well-deserved. There was a point in that game where he stood on the table and took charge of the defense. And it was awesome to see how he did it, the respect that was gained from that moment, where it was just, all right, okay, I'm going to listen to what he says. We're good. Let's just keep it moving. And just that his voice, his presence was solidified in that moment. And I think you can just see the confidence, the belief, the trust from the entire front 4 from that moment. It was a really cool moment, and, I'll leave it there.
I don't mean to go backwards, but would you say getting the guy just to do his job is maybe the hardest part of your job?
Yes, and it's been a process to get that, but I've been very pleased with the way the guys have handled the ebbs and flows of the season, the highs, the lows, and just sticking with it. And then we reinforce as much as we possibly can the good. Here's the result. Here's when we don't do. Here's the result. And I've just been so proud of the guys and their buy-in, their acceptance of coaching, and their acceptance of doing their part of the scheme so that everybody has success. And then, too, they'll have success when the play, comes their way. Because in college football, the play doesn't care who makes it. You've got to execute your job, and the plays that are there for you to make, you're going to make, because the play doesn't care. So,
what did you tell Amari after the hopping on the table, like maybe in private, about what he did?
I don't know that I've ever addressed it. It was one of those things that didn't need to be addressed. Amari's a real dude, and just his leadership, his presence, his care factor, all of those things are at such a high level, and the guys feed off of that. He's got and I'm sure I've told this before, but it's just, Amari's got a presence about him, even when he just walks in a room, that, okay, Amari's here. I've coached a lot of guys that have that, a lot of great players that have that, and Amari Campbell is one of them that has that presence about him, the confidence about him. It's not arrogant. It's just, hey, okay, 17's ready to go. Let's go. Oh, 17 said this. That's what we're doing. And that's a really cool thing, especially at the position that he plays. How about that?
He was 18 when y'all went to Minnesota, wasn't he? Or was that his birthday?
I thought that was his birthday.
Yeah, that was turned 19 that day, yeah. Wow.
Young dude.
Young dude.
You kind of need that presence to be sort of a dog linebacker, like he is, right? I mean,
He's a dog. That's what you said. I love it.
Is the stepping on the table?
he needs that dog. Basically.
Got to. Yep, August 29th was his birthday. There's me texting him. Yep.
Yeah, we wouldn't lie to you.
How about that?
Is the stepping on the tail a metaphor, or
What?
can you tell us more about stepping on the table? Is that just a description, or can you go, you said you didn't want to go and do all of it now, but
Right.
since it's out, can
Just get into it, Jeff. Just tell us.
when you say stepping on the table,
Pressured by the media.
Is it an actual table? Or?
No, he just, when I say to do this, this is what we are going to do. It was that kind of moment. And it was powerful, it was impactful, it was done respectfully, but confidently, and it was received that way as well, which is pretty cool. And it was in the heat of the moment, and I think it was early in the Virginia game, and it was just something that should have happened even sooner than it did, but it happened, so move on and play really good football, and everybody co-signed him, and it's really good.
because he's got a much older guy next to him, or?
I don't know that. I don't know, and it's just part of the process. There's a lot of older guys on the defense that have played a lot of ball. Like Power Eccles has played, 2,800 snaps, and Cayman Ruckers played 2,600 snaps in the Carolina Blue, and there's other guys that are older in the Scoob, and Des Evans that are older, established guys, Ritzy, and, Huzzy. There's a bunch of older guys, and for a young guy to step out, it takes time, it takes a process, and it was just that time. It was the right time, and it was good for everybody involved.
Does he wear the dot?
He does. Omar Kimball wears the dot. Yep.
How's it changed these days? Mac mentions the 15-second cutoff, and you see a lot of offensive goals, so look at the
Sure.
sideline, try to change it.
Right.
You got to be really in tune to what you're doing.
Absolutely, and he's done phenomenal with it. We still have to use the signals until they put 11 green dots out there. You're still going to have to signal and use the boards that we use and use wristbands. I mean, it's just it's a whole process that we still have to go through. But Amari can get the front lined up and go play.
Has he worn it all year or just?
No, I think the last 3 or 4 games, I'm not sure where the part where we felt it was better for him to be wearing it, the Mike backer position. So.
All right, we good?
Appreciate it, guys.
Thanks, Jack. Thanks, Jack.